Hello, everybody. This is Adrian Raminga.
And Peter Onansa.
Just please bear with us just about 1 minute. Let's wait for the rest, and then we will start our webinar. Okay, let's hope that everybody joined our webinar. So let's start again. My name is Adrian Raminga, and with me is today also Piotr Nęca.
Hello.
And we are from X Plus and going to show you about WEBCON BPS, so the software for business process management. Later on, I will also make a short case study to show you how it looks, what can you do with this software, and then, of course, some also short questions, answers, or some questions if we will have to our team. Before we start with WEBCON, just a little small history about X Plus. So it's a company that was founded in 2002 by Karol Sadnik, and he was the creator, and also till today, he's still our CEO and managing our company. At the beginning, X Plus was working only with Microsoft with their products. After a couple of years, they gained experience and also became one of the partners. And one of the crucial milestones which we had was in 2016, joining and receiving the Inner Cycle Award, which is an award only for 1% of all of the Microsoft Dynamics partners around the world, not only in some region, not only in some country, but worldwide. So it's a great honor to be in this circle. Again, also a very needed thing was in 2019, again, the second time we received those Inner Cycle Award as Microsoft partners. And this was also very good to have such award that twice we were able to get it. Not only like this, but also not only Microsoft product, but also WEBCON product is one of the things that we are serving to our customers. So moving to the next slide, just to tell you a little about WEBCON. It's a Polish company. It was founded in 2006. So over 15 years of experience in the world. One product, which is WEBCON BPS business software, over 650 clients and over 70 partners, and also us as X Plus. Also, WEBCON started with working with Microsoft because at the beginning also the platform was based on SharePoint. So as you can see, also WEBCON in this case have lots of experience with working together with Microsoft. So not only SharePoint, but also Dynamics 365 or also the previous versions of Dynamics. So everything is here and to be able to be used for your company. Who trusted us? I believe this is also one of the most important things for you if you would like to join us and work with us. So you have few of the top companies in not only in Poland, but still, like as you can see, joining from the energy distributions, development, also from the clothes or shoes, or also some companies from the radio locations environment. So as you can see, there are different places where you can use not only Microsoft, but also WEBCON, and with the, of course, help of X Plus. Benefits. Now going already straight to WEBCON and to the benefits of it. First of all, it helps you to review and optimize your business flows. I believe this is one of the crucial things because using or starting to analyze the processes in your company and moving them to WEBCON helps you to see what you got in your company, if it was optimized, or maybe you have already some procedures that have a couple of years, they weren't optimized, maybe your company grow and that's why it needs to be changed. And of course, reviewed by people that are engaged in changing of the flows. So that's why it helps you to go back to the beginning and also sometimes write from scratch again your flow for the business needs which you have. Easy access. That means you don't need to install anything on your PC. There is no need. You are logged in. You just need your web browser. You can type in your address of the portal of WEBCON in your company, and it's already there. The signing works from your PC. If you are logged into your PC, you are already logged into WEBCON, so there is no need to have different other tools to store your passwords or anything like that. Don't need your IT to be engaged to install some applications. It's already there. Of course, not only on your PC, laptop, or whatever, you can also have it on your mobile phone, where you can also access it using your web browser. But also, if you would like, you can download your dedicated application from the store, like Android or for iOS. Also, like I mentioned, WEBCON is also working with Microsoft, so that's why there is also an application within Microsoft Teams. So if you are using it in your company, then you can also add a new icon with WEBCON, and then you have the portal is all there. So you don't need, again, you're just opening your MS Teams and you have everything there. You need to do something in WEBCON, it's there. You need to chat with the persons or have a meeting or the calendar, everything is Teams or whatever different applications you are using within Teams, everything's there. You can use it there. And the third point, last but not least, minimize the usage of paper. My favorite scenario, which I'm also always telling about this case, using leave requests. For example, you have this scenario. You need to go to your shared drive. Sometimes you can lose your permissions to it, or something changed, the servers changed. When you find the right shared drive, you need to open, let's say, a Word document. Type in the information regarding yourself, the dates, and so on. Print it. Go to the printer. Take the paper. Go to your supervisor, to their office. When you are lucky and the person is there, you can wait or maybe get the signature or rejection there. But if the person is not there, you need to lay your document on the desk. Then you need to call or write an email that you left such document. You go back to your desk. Then you are waiting for the approval. You received an email from your supervisor. You need to he needs to write the name from the paper, and then you need to go back. Well, what you will see in a few minutes, it's all like this. Is not going to happen in WEBCON. Everything will be structurized, optimized, and you just need to sit in front of your desk and fill in your request, hit the button save or send, and it's done. You will then see what's the flow, where is your document, on what stage, everything's there. We will show this to you in a few moments later. So those are just 3 of them, but there are lots of others which you will see in a moment. A short agenda about today's webinar. So I will just show you a short overview of the main page of the portal, how to move around it. Then we will go deeper to the applications, what we have there, like something like dashboards, reports, start buttons, and then we'll go to the process itself to show you also what changed on the view on the portal. After all of this, which you will see for the users view, then we'll go a step back and show you from Studio how to build such applications, how to work and create such views and dashboards and so on. It will not be technically a little, but still I would need to just give you an overview of it. And the last point will be then presented by Piotr, and he will show you the case study about 2 of the processes. One of them, like I mentioned in the example, sick leaves or request, and then the second one, invoices with OCR, so something that has to do that is recognizing text and putting it into WEBCON, into the fields in the database. So this is from now everything from the presentation. I will just switch to our server and I will show you how it looks, how to move around the portal. Hopefully you can see already my screen. I just wait 5 more seconds. And now here we see the portal. I'm using Edge at the moment, but there is no problem that all of the mostly used browsers can be used. So Chrome, Brave, Edge, Firefox, you can use them. Everything's working there. so there is no problem. The same goes with the mobile applications, mobile phones. You can also use those browsers, and there is no problem. First of all, as we are now in English mode, as you can see, the portal is in Polish, so there is no problem because WEBCON is also multilingual. Just to change it, we just need to go to the right top corner, and as I mentioned before, I'm logged into my PC, so that means I don't need to log in here. I have already my user who is logged in this case to the server, but still, if you encounter some issues, you can always provide to your IT this login, and they will know about which profile it is this kind of error which you will have. So I am just changing to English. As you can see, there are other languages, and some main views or main fields are automatically translated, but when we go deeper to the processes, every field that is there can be fully configured. So it all depends on your company. If you have some special naming or something that helps your users to understand better some fields or some steps, it's everything fully configurable. So it's nothing out of the box. Out of the box, you can have multi languages, but not the translation. So it's all up to you how you would like to show it. For example, those tasks, it's out of the box because it's a standard way of when you install the portal. So it's there. So that's why those translations are here. So like as you can see, I'm on the main page. I see here the main screen. So starting from the left side, you have the menu navigation. You have the WEBCON logo. When you hit it, you just go to the first page. You have the home, you have tasks. I will tell them about in a moment. Some insights about some suggested sites or applications you should use, some searching structure. And on the main screen, we have tasks, because I will just stay here a little longer. WEBCON is based on tasks. That means that, like in this example with the leave requests, me as the user is creating a new request, which then goes to my supervisor. So he needs to do some action. In this meaning, he needs to have a task where he needs to perform his action. His action can be, in this case, of two kinds. He can accept or approve. So that's why this person is receiving such task. It can be one person. It can be a group of persons. For example, in invoices, when you have multiple persons, for example, in accounting, so they are a couple of persons, so it doesn't need to be done by all of them, but they all received a task that whoever will go and work on this document will receive it and then can work on it. Everything is visible in WEBCON, so there is nothing that the history and everything is visible. Also, not only receiving such a task, you can also send an email to this person. For example, if I send my leave request, then not only my supervisor will see here +1 in the tasks, but also we can make to send an email to this person's inbox. For example, hey, you have a new leave request from Adrian. Please do the needed, for example, and then in the body of the email, you will have a button to hit the link, and it will go put you through directly to this request. So not to the whole view, but directly to this request, and then it can be approved or rejected, or even asked some questions. Going further, favorites. So if I'm using something common very often, I just can add it to my favorites. That's why they are also on the top. Of course, this is also depending on the users which they want to have it and what kind of application. Frequently used applications, so those are which WEBCON is learning what I'm moving around, am I moving, so it's suggesting them to me. But of course, if there are other applications where I have the access rights, because it's not that when I'm a user, I see all of the applications, I see only those applications that are added for me, that I have the access rights, and then I can go to them. Without it, it's not possible for me. So for example, if there are some informations like accounting, not all of the company users should be able to see the, for example, invoices. So that's why you're also changing it and showing only, giving the access only for a small group. So in the bottom, we see the rest of applications where I'm able to access, but still I'm not using them very often. That's why they are not in the top 6 frequently used applications. I just choose this one. So we will have just another screen. So like I said, we will on the top, we now move to the applications. Within the application, you can have different processes. For example, you can have an application for HR, where you can have, for example, an employee's card. You can have the sick requests. You can have some other things related to your HR, for example, sending people on some scheduled appointments. So for I don't know, for the job, to make some the doctor's appointments, for example, once a year or twice a year, if it depends on your organization and your needs. And here we can change it. This is the dashboard of this application. In this case, is the demo application. What you can see here, it's fully configured. So when you are installing and creating a new process, it looks different. I will show you this in a second. So again, on the left side, still the menu changed a little because we have the start, so you have dashboards, reports, searching structure was already there. And just to show you how it looks like when you are installing it, we are seeing the system dashboard. It looks like this. So if somebody would like to have it like this, there is no problem. But still, if you would like to change it a little for yourself or for your organization to have the best view, you can configure it within the browser. You don't need anything. You just need to have the correct access right to be able to change the views as a business administrator, not the process administrator, because there are those are also two different roles. You can move around with the things that you can see here, but you cannot change the process itself. So if it's somehow configured, it's not possible for this person with those access right to change it. And what I did, I created a new dashboard, and it looks like this. So a small information about the supervisor of the process. For example, you can see the phone number, the email if you would like to use. Here we see again the tasks, but in this case, we see only the tasks within this application. As you saw here, we had more of them, so for a 90, but going to the invoices, let's say, we see only 28, because it's just in this application. At the top screen, we saw my whole task from all of those applications. The start buttons, I will tell them in a moment. You have also some searching options by instance ID and instance number. And those two things are very important because the database, it doesn't depend on the number of your application or processes, because everything is stored in one database. So in order to have it done in a correct manner, the ID and the instance number are unique. That means that, for example, if we take the ID, it can be just one in the whole database. It doesn't matter if those are invoices, sick leaves, employees' cards, business trips. This one specific ID can be just once. So that means if this ID 433 is for the invoice, but still, if you will have a sick request or an employee card, it is not possible to have the same ID for this. Of course, when you have different environments, production, testing, and the development, so in those, it can happen because they are separate databases, but still, it is not possible to have the same number. They are unique. Same goes with the instance number. Sometimes when the numbers or so-called signatures are long and we are having some communication within the organization or outside, sometimes it's easier to just provide the ID and somebody can just type in the ID and it's already there. Or sometimes the instance number also is good. Instance numbers or the signatures are also fully configured depending on your business needs, how you'd like you to see the data. In this case, we have the shortcut of the invoice in Polish. We have the year, currently year when it was registered, the current month when it was registered, and the next number in this month. As you can see here, we had also in May, we had a second invoice, but then when you switch to July, you have again the number 1 because it's done. It resets by every month. This is a standard one option. For example, you would like to see your all invoices within the year. So in this case, the number would be different. And when I'm already here, so this is the report. In this case, the report is a table view where you have the columns with the attributes. I will tell them about them in a moment. It's also fully configured. It depends how you would like to have them organized, which you want to have it here, which you don't want to. If there should be grouped, for example, by the customer or by some amounts or by some steps, or maybe the day or anything what are the business needs. Of course, there is also one important option to export those lists to Excel and do other things. You can also do some graphical view, but they are on a basic step. But that's not a problem. If you have, for example, Power BI in your company, you can use it. Power BI is linked to the WEBCON database. You can create reports and then put them here in the dashboard if there is a need. So you have them already here for the users. The dashboards, the reports, also depending on the access rights, can be viewed by all of the persons that have the access rights or just by a specific person or group of persons. The groups, just the technical part, when you have Active Directory or Azure Active Directory, so you are first of all logged into your PC, then to the portal, and also using those groups, you can, Active Directory groups, you can give accesses to the applications in WEBCON. If not, there is also an option to create groups locally, so within WEBCON, and also give specific persons the access rights in these groups, and then the groups to some specific access rights. And we have here the start buttons. So also, as you can see on the left side, I can also show it. You have also the start buttons. You have also the dashboards. If you wish, I can also see and find the reports. So let's start. For example, the different view of the dashboard is the leave of absence. For example, there is no need to have anything more. You just see, for example, your absences. If I would be a supervisor, I could see mine or see my all subordinates just to see what they got. Even if I'm not assigned to them, I can just look what my employees have leave requests and also the dates just to organize my work with them in the company. So now the start button, I just click it, and then the view changed a little. Still on the left side, we see the menu. If, for example, you want to have more place for writing in, so you can always hide it if it's possible, if you need, if there's a need for it. If not, you can just leave it like that. Of course, from this, I can still switch to the main view. I can still go to the dashboards if there is a need. Here we see already the view of the document. So what we need to put it in. Depending on the analysis, what you want to have, we are putting the so-called attributes, different type of them. You can have text attributes, you can have date attributes, as you can see. In this case, without the hour and the minutes, but it's possible. In this case, we are using such a way of the date format. You can have some choice fields. For example, you can have some fields that are not able to be edited because that was the business need. You can have text fields, you can have checkboxes, you have some rate buttons. Of course, you can attach almost everything what you want to attach to this. You can have a comment. So everything's there. All of the list of the fields depends on the analysis with the customer, what you want to have here. This is one of the parts where you have also the red star, so it means that the fields are mandatory. And what I mentioned at the beginning of the scenario, that I need to go to my supervisor, wait for the signature, go to our HR department, wait for them or not to wait, send an email. Everything is reviewed, optimized by all of us that needs to have it there. And we agreed that the steps needed for this flow looks like this. So you need to register, it needs an acceptance, it needs an entry to the HR, then after that it's accepted, and after I go back or the to date finished, the document goes to the completed step. So on every single moment, I see what's going on with my request. My supervisor sees what's going on with my request. For example, the HR needs to view all of those requests, so they also can go there and look at what stage is the specific request. As you can also see, it's a new one, so that's why we first of all have no ID, have no signature, because it's still not sent. To send it, you are using paths. In this case, they are at the bottom. The names is also fully configured. It's all for the business to have it the best way how it should be. There is just one, but for example, there can be multiple. All depends on the business needs. So I believe when I will hit send for approval, it should go, in my opinion, to the acceptance, but I don't know. We will see it on the case study in few minutes. So, and everything that's here visible, to be able to create it, we need WEBCON Studio. As I mentioned, there are different levels of access rights. You can start new requests. You can view everything. You can view and edit everything. You can be the administrator. You can be the administrator to create reports, so tabular reports, for example. You are the administrator to create dashboards. But still, on the top of it is the administrator of the studio, which can do everything. And this is the studio. We are now in the studio. Here we have also some sections. I would just, like I said, try not to be too much technical, just to show you what's going on here. And in Portal, we were in the demo application. We were in some invoices, and we saw some different form fields. For example, one of them is called registration date. In this case, it's in Polish, but still the rest is in English. So of course, if there is a need, it can be, the whole studio can be in English, and also the field names, in this case it's Polish, but there is such an icon that if somebody would change the language in Portal to English, they would see registration date. And as I said, you can write here almost anything that you need. So like I said, this is no problem for your company. Depends on the naming, what convention would you like to have. The field types which I mentioned, there are lots of them. Like I said, you can use single text, multiple integer, floating points, item lists, some pictures, emails, choice fields, the checkboxes, field, some data presentations if you would like to have some data table views, Google Maps, charts, whatever you would like, you can put it here and configure it to be visible in your applications and in the processes. So this is here where you create them. Also, at the bottom, we see the reports, the start buttons, and the dashboards. You can also create it from this place if you're already doing it. But if you're just giving the access right to some persons to be able just to do it on the portal, it's also possible. The next point, data sources. In this case, WEBCON can have the applications just within themselves, just to work like, for example, the request. But still, if you want to have other connections to other MS SQL databases, as WEBCON is on the MS SQL database, if you have some Oracle databases, if you have some applications that you can only join them by web services, there's no problem. SOAP or REST web services, for example, taking information from D365. There's no problem. You just need to create a connection. When you have the connection, then you just put it in the data sources, add a new one, and then you have it already there. So you then, using WEBCON, you can connect to the D365 and receive the data which you wanted to present to the persons. When you have other views, when you are taking, for example, the customers or the clients list, there's no need to duplicate such information in WEBCON. You are just using your other database, and that's it. And there is no problem. You can use it. Of course, it goes also the second way. So you can export from WEBCON the information to your databases, like inserts to the database itself or some web services. Everything's possible if you wish. It all depends on the business needs. System settings, just some general view about the logs, what's going on. When you are restarting, you can restart the service. You can look at the list of rules, how it should look like, because you can also change the layout. You can also see the list of your persons. You have the email notification, so you need to configure it here, that after you receive a task, you will also get an email, so everything's created here. Hot folders and hot mailboxes, this is something where WEBCON is monitoring the shared folders or hot mailboxes. It is, for example, for the invoices, because WEBCON is taking the data from it and, for example, starting a new document. Plugin packages, there's just one out of the box, but if you need something what is not in WEBCON, in the studio, in the available actions, it can be created fully by your requirements and can be then put here and added as a new package, and then you can use it. And reports, something for the administrators, something about a basic one. So what's going on, if the email are sent, if the notifications, if the OCR for invoices is working, if there's a queue, if there are some errors. The running modules, for example, the exclamation mark is okay in this case because we have the hot mailboxes enabled, but we don't have anything put there. So that's why it's enabled, but there is nothing there to monitor. So that's why it's correct thinking, and we know as the administrators that it's the correct way of work. So as you can see, just as an example, also regarding the email sending reports, we can see that there are 2 failures. Of course, the error detail, it's easy to be checked. Also, when you are on the server as an administrator, you can use the event viewer. So there, the last part was the technical one, but still going just to summarize. Here we are within the process itself. We go one stage up. We are in the application in the dashboard. We go to the top, and we are in the application in the portal within, and you can see it here. So that's all in theory from my side. And now we are going to switch to Piotr, and we are going to show you the case study. So we'll have the sick leaves. So he will give you a little more, hopefully, that something what I said it will be okay. And then also with invoices with some nice feature like OCR, which can be also very crucial for you. So for now, thank you very much from my case, and I'm giving my voice to Piotr.
Hello everyone, and I will show you the 2 most common processes that everybody can start with, and work with processes on the WEBCON. Let me share my screen to go to the portal. And we will go to our demo applications, where we will go through 2 our example processes, leave of absence and invoices. Let's go to the simplest one, leave of absence. Here, now I'm taking the role of a simple employee who wants to leave his request to the supervisor and go on holidays. We're registering a new form. Here we have form fields shown, and we have the information which of them are required with this little red star. These are the required fields, and some of them are optional. As you can see, some of the fields are filled in automatically, and here we have fields that our employee must fill in manually. We have the field of our employee. This is filled automatically, but as you can see, we have the right to put our request for some other person. We can check, we can search for such a person and add it here. Now we need to choose which type of absence is this one. We need to choose the dates. It's quickly from the calendar. Next one. And we can put an information of our default substitute, but this information is optional. We can search for a person in our organization that can make our tasks for us. And the only thing we need to do next is sending our request to the next step. We have our path visible here, sending for approval. Before we will go with this, let me show you some validation of our leave of request. Let's try to choose a date 2 that is earlier than the date from which we are taking our vacation, and let's try to send it to our supervisor. As you can see, we have an error occurred, and we have an information what we have done wrong, because we need to choose proper dates in our form. So we need to replace the date to a proper one. And now let's check it. Yes, the form went to another step where our supervisor, when he goes to his task, can choose which action will he do, rejecting or approving, accepting our form. The fields here are not editable. It's just the information for our supervisor, and all that he can do, he can write is, for example, our a simple comment, and this comment will be visible as a simple chat in next steps as an additional information. Choosing accepting, as you can see, we have a yellow warning. What does it mean? That means that me, as a I'm logged as a WEBCON admin. I don't have permissions to perform the task of our supervisor. This is the situation which Adrian said. Not every user can do all the tasks. These are assigned to a specific person or a specific group of persons. Now I will finish all the tasks with my administration privileges and will perform this task for our supervisor. As you can see, our form went to a step of accepted leave of absence. Here, there is no task for any person. This form will stay here until the end of our absence, and then will go automatically to step of completed ones. For the purpose of our example, I will second time will use my administration privileges and edit it by sending it to the next step, and this one is the last one in our process. As you can see, we have in the info tab here, we have information which steps were in this particular one performed. We have info that we didn't make an entry to our HR system because for this demo applications we don't have an integration with this, but every such an information is here visible for all the users that have access. Of course, we have some more info about this process, about this particular form. We can go to a history tab where we can see which of the fields were filled in and on which step. We have the whole information. Let's expand them all. We have all the information about the dates that it was performed by and by whom, and which fields were filled in or in which step. Let's go back to our form. This was the quick example of one of the shortest examples with our process of leave of absence. Of course, it can be configured to the needs of your company, and it can have more steps if needed, of course. Now let's go to some bigger one, to a bigger process, invoices. Here we will start in a second a new form of a new invoice. But firstly, I would like to say something about starting a new form. It can be done by several ways, because of course any user that has access to our application and has access to the start buttons can add some new invoice. But there is also an option that this process can be started by, for example, an email sent to our organization. The system connects to our email, and if there is a new one, it will take all the info from it and all the attachments, and will start it automatically, putting, of course, our attachment to our new invoice. We will do it now manually. We will choose our type of category, our new invoice, and let's add a new attachment, which will be our demo invoice. Now, as we can see, there are two type of paths. These types are depending on which actions needs to be done next. For example, when this invoice is registered from our email, it will go through the path of registering an electronic invoice. And when we have an invoice in paper, in our that went to our office, and we can scan it and put the file in some folder, from which, of course, WEBCON can quickly attach it automatically to our form. Now, for the purpose of our example, let's try to register a new invoice like it would be from our email. As you can see, now we are in the next step of text layer. This is the part where our OCR system will put a text layer on our file, and all the words and signs in the invoice will be scanned, and information from this file can be transferred to our form. First, we put a text layer. Then, when we have all the info about this file in our database, we can search for some unique number, like a VAT, for example, VAT code. And when we have some such a unique number, we can check on the invoice and show the system where he can find more of the info by itself. For example, the invoice number, issue date, sale date, and amounts, for example. As you have seen, I have just showing you this field, and it was in the automatically proceeded by the OCR. So let's check it if something happened. As you can see, our form went through the steps of searching for VAT code and searching for any additional field that we have configured. After checking and searching for a VAT code on our invoice, this how it looks. The system had to find this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this and here 6, 7, this 7 fields on the invoice. Some of them were recognized properly. As you can see, the invoice number. Here is the sign from the invoice, which the system recognized as an invoice number. We can click it, and the system shows us where he found this item. As you can see, this is the invoice number, so it was recognized properly. The same with the issue date and sale date. But he didn't recognize where is the net amount. We can quickly show the system and put there without writing it manually. And one more. And after clicking the checkboxes with in those fields which were not recognized properly, we can teach our OCR system where he can find these fields in the invoices that will be sent to us in the future. We have an option of, let's go down, we have an option of teaching a path where we can teach our system by showing the fields that he can learn. Some of the fields are filled in automatically and calculated from the fields that we have put there earlier, like the tags. Some of them are filled in automatically by some validation, like for example, this kind of a vendor usually sends to us invoices in currency of PLN, so we can easily configure that it will be already automatically filled in when we have such an invoice. Now let's choose if there is anything more we can add. As you can see, these fields are optional. We don't have to put it for the purpose of this example, of this process. Our employee can send this form, this document, to another step, which we, of course, we can see which steps are ahead. And by choosing one of the paths, we will send our document to a specific step in which we have here visible. If we think everything was done properly, let's choose a path of sending this forward. As you can see, our form went to a step of where some user can add some invoice description in a substantive description step. As you can see, we already configured that this field will be visible to our user, but of course he can go to the tab of the main information with headers from our invoice and check if everything was is properly added. He can, of course, if if he doesn't agree with this information, he can move it back to our office to clear it and type some better information. But let's go further. In this particular example, as you can see, our invoice is going to configured steps, and we can see that this particular invoice didn't went to director approval step. Why? Because, for example, we had some validation that our invoice, if the amount of our net amount of our invoice is below, for example, 10,000 zloty, it doesn't have to go to the approval of our director. We can strictly send it to accounting department, where before sending it to, for example, to ERP, the accountants will check all the information, and of course they can view the invoice by itself and check if everything is okay. We have some fields that are required to be filled in. And if that is all the things they need to fill, they can move our invoice to next steps. In this particular situation, we will send it to D365. Of course, our demo doesn't have the integration with this system, but just to show you how it looks, let's choose our path. As you can see, we have some additional field that is required. Of course, if you are sending, we will try to send it to another step, and the field is not properly filled in. We have some validation error. This line is required, so we need to put some information there. We have only 2 fields to choose. If there is something that user needs to check before sending it later, of course we can save our all the information that we have here that was done by ourselves, and we need to go to some other tasks. This form will wait for us till the completion of our tasks. So now I think everything is already there. As you can see, we send it to some to the system, to the step which where we are sending our document, our invoice to the ERP system like D365. Of course, in the meantime, every user that has access can check the history of our invoice, what was there, which steps there were, which users made some actions. We have our user, we have WEBCON workflow service. This is the automatic user from our system that puts their informations automatically without any user's attendance. We have an information that, for example, invoice number was properly filled in the in the step of where we found this section on our invoice automatically in the waiting for OCR step. And when it went to OCR verification, where users had to check if the informations are correct, the invoice number was already there. Nothing had to be typed by the users. It was here automatically added from our file or from our invoice. Of course, every action, every change is here in our database. We can always check who has done some actions and some changes. Even if it was an administrator, the information about changes of every user is stored in our database and can be quickly checked by all the users that have access to this particular form. As you can see, our document is here, waiting for the system to send it to our ERP system. But for the purpose of our example, we will do it by ourselves by sending it to a step of completed invoices. This was the whole process of our invoice. Of course, every step in this particular workflow is fully configured by the in the studio that Adrian shown you before. We can add new steps, new kind of paths. You can put their validations for our fields. We can calculate some of them depending on the information that we have here from our file or from the information provided by the users. We can put their information from our systems like ERP, HR systems. All of them can be quickly configured and stored here within this particular form, and of course in our database. After this, we can return to our dashboard of invoices, where we can see, of course, of the invoices that we have access to check, where we have our reports, and that is all for this for our examples. I hope that the information gathered here will be useful for you to familiarize yourself with this platform, and that it will help you choose the WEBCON solution as the best platform for your business processes. Thank you very much for your participation. Of course, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send them to us. We'll answer them as soon as possible after the webinar. And that's all for me. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Hope to see you in the next webinar made by our company, TEDxpress.
Thank you very much also from my side.